All right, three, two, one. Draft Season Podcast. We back in the building with another breakdown for your head tops. Over here, it's NFL draft season, so you definitely know we have to get in our bag. I'm joined by my brother, my guy Matt Enfield, coming to you live from Wisconsin. Matt, what's going on, my guy?
Yo, what's good, bro? Beautiful Saturday. It's like a heat wave up here, nearly 70 degrees, first week of April. So, hey, man, life is good. Ready to talk about the man that they call McCorkle? Is that how you? I think that's his middle name. That's not his first name. We're not gonna dump on that too much. But Sean, I mean, it's the prospect, the quarterback prospect that has caught the eye of the national media landscape, and looking ahead to the draft in less than a month. Mac Jones. And let's just give some background on how we got here. So I think that for the last couple of months, the consensus has been that there are going to be at least 5 quarterbacks taken the first round of the draft. I think most people thought the first half of the first round, 5 within the first 15, 16 picks, seemed like the consensus. But the idea was that Mac Jones was going to be that guy that landed in the teens. And there were a bunch of different landing spots talked about, maybe the Patriots, this, that. Well, now the wild card that's been thrown into this whole situation, obviously, is the San Francisco 49ers, 1 year removed from representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, and honestly, 1 year removed from choking away a Super Bowl title that was in their hands, traded up from the number 12 pick, which was largely a result. I mean, I still think that the 49ers were a really good team last year that just had some of the worst injury luck in recent memory, but that landed them the number 12 overall pick in the draft. Well, they said, all right, we're going to trade up to number 3 with the Miami Dolphins, and we're going to trade away. We're going to do a pick swap for 12, and then I believe it was 2 future first-round picks, and then a third at some point down the road. I'd have to look at the details on that to be specific on that. But either way, we're thinking at first glance, I see this trade and I'm like, all right, like Justin Fields is the name that comes to mind. And then you start reading some articles about some good scheme and film guys that say, well, Trey Lance would make a lot of sense in a Kyle Shanahan offense with some of the dual threat stuff he could do. And in my head, I think a lot of people's heads were thinking, all right, like Trey is a little bit of a raw prospect, played 1 exhibition game this past year at North Dakota State because of COVID stuff. So, you're thinking he needs a little bit of development, a little bit of time getting groomed. Who better to groom him than Kyle Shanahan? And what better bridge to get them to Trey Lance as their future quarterback than 1 more year of Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, maybe you could find a better bridge, but Jimmy Garoppolo is certainly a suitable bridge. And then I think the first person that brought up the possibility of Mac Jones to the San Francisco 49ers at 3 was Kyle Shanahan's college roommate, Chris Sims, who admittedly has a lot of zany at the time quarterback takes, but a lot of them do turn out to be true. And he said that, it should be mentioned, by the way, that Chris Sims and Kyle Shanahan have each other's initials tattooed on them to represent how close they actually are. So he probably is in the know.
Kind of strange.
Strange. But I'm not going to get into too many details on that. But yeah, that is just something to illustrate the fact that they are very close friends, clearly. So he was the first one that brought up, I think that this is going to be for Mac Jones. And then there was more and more steam through insiders and people throughout the league that, Mac Jones is probably their guy, assuming that Trevor Lawrence goes 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Zach Wilson goes 2 to my beloved New York Jets. So I think that because of that, we decided we need to break down a couple of things with Mac Jones. Just looking at him as a prospect overall, is he good? Is he bad? And I think that certainly there's a lot of good on his tape. Why we think that 3 might be a little bit rich, and comparing him to the other 2 guys that are probably going to be available at that spot in Justin Fields and Trey Lance. So, Sean, why don't you get us started with, you have a bunch of tape, broke it down. And I think it should be noted, Mac had a really good year, obviously, in Alabama. I mean, I said it before we started. I think this Alabama team this past year was probably the best of their championship teams over the last decade and a half. But it must be thrown out there, and we'll dive into this. The weapons were amazing when you think about Devontae Smith, John Mechie, a little bit of Jalen Waddle before he got hurt.
Yeah, half season of Jalen Waddle.
Right, and the scheme allowed for him to really, really shine. So, let's get into it, Sean. I mean, how would you sum up Mac Jones just as a prospect in general?
Yeah, man, and like I said, it's really unfair to any of these guys. A lot of when we talk about draft, actual like draft takes and things that go along with draft Twitter at this time of year, which can be ridiculous. Scout the player, don't scout the helmet. You know what I'm saying? And I tweeted
Correct.
this a couple days ago. Like it would be unfair to Mac Jones if we were making the argument about Alabama never produced good quarterbacks, which is
Just
why
like we
Mac
had this
Jones.
conversation last week about comparing
Yeah,
Justin
yeah,
Fields
yeah.
to Dwayne Haskins and Cardell Jones at
Same
Ohio
thing.
State.
Same things. It's pretty unfair. It's pretty unfair. So you know what I'm saying? This is why it was important for us to really dive into this film and see what's going on for Mac Jones. Mac Jones had a phenomenal season. That I would say him as a player, he's somebody who he really is the throwback of this actual class. He isn't the future of the quarterback position. You know what I'm saying? He has, he's a little more mobile than he gets credit for, but he's not anything close to being an elite athlete compared to, he probably compares more to the Davis Mills or Kyle Trask in terms of athleticism in this class. But when we're talking about the high end guys, and even somebody like a Trevor Lawrence, who Trevor Lawrence doesn't get enough credit for how athletic he is.
Trevor,
And
I think, in my opinion, I mean, Trevor blows Mac Jones away in terms of athleticism. I would
oh,
say.
it's not even no. Trevor is an Amazon. Trevor's built. He was sculpted in a lab compared to Mac Jones. But yeah, man,
Point
let's
being,
run this
overall,
game.
that Mac is, if we're talking about those first five guys, Mac is pretty clearly the lowest caliber
Yeah.
athlete.
Yeah, for sure. And one last thing on the Mac Jones, I would say for sure is him as an athlete. He was so comfortable within the actual Alabama offense, and he ran the offense as good as you possibly could see an offense run at that level, and he deserves credit for that. And if we're talking about translation, it might be a little lowbrow and remedial in terms of what's exactly going to translate, but if you have the weapons, if you have a great line and you think this can be replicated, that has to be the idea. If there's smoke winners around and what Chris Sims is saying is truth, and on draft day we'll see Mac Jones go third, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be why Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers brass, actually took that. It's not going to be because of the athleticism. It's not going to be because of him making plays outside the pocket. But yeah, let's get to this film, Matt. We can start off. Let's start off right here. I got downfield ball placement. All right, so let's take a look at this play right here. Mac Jones. What game is? I believe it is the Missouri game. Texas A&M actually. Texas A&M.
Hey, that
So
was
we
damn good team this year too. Good footwork.
We have here. So yeah, this just a downfield strike. You know what I'm saying? Mac doesn't have the strongest arm, but his timing on these plays are pretty damn good. The ball was exactly where it needs to be. He let his receiver, down the field, and he didn't have to come back to the play. And I guess, yeah, man, and like I said, who was that? Is that
something we're going to see a lot on these clips? His receivers just dusting defensive backs.
But yeah, man, like I said, this is a good throw. And like I said, Raz isn't live with us today, but Raz was leading the Mac Jones slander brigade, and I can understand if you saw the picture of Mac Jones, with his shirt off, like you could definitely understand why the idea of him as a as an NFL athlete, is ridiculous. So I think it's another play from Texas A&M game. I really like this throw from Mac himself. It's not anything like it doesn't jump off the board to you, but you have to be really precise with this throw. He threw it before the DB could even turn his head back. So I think that's a great sign for that right there. He has a really quick release, and his timing with this offense has been phenomenal. So we can check this out one more time. He throws the pump to the.
Yep. I was going to say, unlike the throw before to John Mechie, where Mechie had 2 steps on his DB, this is a play where, I mean, it's a simple throw, don't get me wrong, but it's a throw where his man doesn't clearly have the defender beat, but he still put it in the only spot where he could catch it.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to be, when you don't have when you don't have the strongest arm and you're not athletic, he needs to be accurate. So like his accuracy is super important. So yeah, that's a great play from Mac Jones. And like I said, he did so much stuff that's amazing for Bama. So this is another play. And this is him rolling out.
Did not like this. He is not a good enough athlete to try and reset his feet twice.
Yeah, for sure. And this is what I'm saying here. I think on this play, he you want to see your quarterback get on a rollout like this. You want to see your quarterback get a little deeper on his stride. Like you want to see him get to maybe, like what is he's at 5? If he gets to like 6 or 7, he probably has enough room to make this throw. And he's trying to keep himself square, and then he gets the footsteps once he see his guy break contained from his lineman. And this is just happy feet in the pocket, and for somebody like that, it's not. Do I see him as somebody who you can roll out a lot at the next level and make plays? He can throw on his run, but I don't necessarily think that's his strong suit. And the accuracy.
And I think something that we're going to see is that he is significantly more comfortable rolling out to his right. He can make some good throws rolling out to his right. It might not be ideal, but to his left is probably asking a lot. And this play kind of highlights his limitations athletically.
And yeah, man, that's Texas A&M defender. So like I've seen him get happy feet when guys are getting to him, and this is Texas A&M. It's gonna be different when it's guys like Von Miller.
Texas A&M defender not named Myles Garrett. We should throw that out there because Texas A&M has put out some beastly edge rushers over the years.
Got you. This is another great play for Mac Jones, I would say. Shout out to Jalen Waddle, a star of the early season before his injury. I'll run the tape on this. What do you see on this play, Matt? We could definitely run it. What is it? It's trips to the outside, and it's a great
beautiful ball.
It's a beautiful throw into.
Do we call that a moon? Do we call that a moon ball? I mean, it's not a 60-yard shot, but I mean, it falls right. It falls.
It's not a Russell Wilson moon ball. It's not a Russell Wilson moon ball, but looking at from this angle, the ball is where the defenders aren't, and that was, if we're talking degree of difficulty, this is a hard throw.
Yes.
Because if it's not in that, if it's not in that area, this is it's gonna be broken up by the DBs. And Jalen Waddle won't even have a chance to make a play on that throw. So, I think that was another one. This is another Jalen Waddle special, I would say, on this play on the sluggo route as I have it titled here. But I'll run the tape. And one thing we talked about, Matt, and this is the tough thing for me about Mac Jones as a top 3 pick, which is, like I said, this is the smoke we're heading to right now. The talent deficiency that other teams had going up against Alabama was so large, and when you combine that with the scheme, there is so much going on. Najee Harris is, he's one of those ones. I'm gonna say he's one of those backs that I'm not gonna lose sleep over if you have to take in the first round. That's how talented that dude is. He and we're not even gonna get into the whole running backs don't manage right now. I'm just saying that dude is a throwback. That dude is special. He can catch the ball. He's one of the best. His feet, what he did as a runner, his patience, his ability to drive through and run through contact. Najee Harris is the goods. We're gonna get to Najee. He'll get his own video and his own tape. We're gonna get that. But there was so much that opposing defenses had to worry about going against Alabama. Mac Jones wasn't fourth, if we're being realistic, and he was picking teams apart to give him his own credit. But and even the scheme on a play like this that we're about to run, the scheme is so good, and Jalen Waddle runs such a great route. The separation on this play is ridiculous. Mac Jones just put the ball where it needed to be, but the real star on this play is Jalen Waddle on this route, and we'll see it from the next angle. And Jalen Waddle is a stud. Remember that name in future fantasy drafts. But take a look at Jalen Waddle on this slug and go type of route, and the safety bites. But you kind of have to bite when you're going against somebody like Jalen Waddle, because if you don't bite, he can still get that slant and take it to the. If you take a bad route trying to tackle him, and still take it to the house.
So I mean, listen, like you said, it's a defensive miscommunication, but it's also one that, how I'm not gonna compare Jalen Waddle to Tyreek Hill is hefty, and a lot of people are doing that. And Tyreek Hill is truly a one-of-one weapon in the history.
Gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop. Just throw out the Tyreek comps, because let's say a comp
just at the college level though, it's the way Jalen would terrify college level safeties over the top. I get it, why you would jump this route, but as soon as you give him the term, he's even. If he's even, he's leaving. Well, with Jalen, I mean, if he's a half step before even, he's leaving, because I mean, it's a different level of speed.
Yeah, and Devontae is the same thing. So like I said, that's free food for Mac Jones. Like if the defense is gonna bite like that, you gotta be able to make them pay. So like I said, this is not really Mac,
It's a
but
great route too, by the way.
it's a great route. The windows won't be this tight on the second level, on the next level, and safeties won't give you that same play. This next play from Mac Jones, I think is one of the more impressive plays that I've seen on tape for him. Matt, like you said, him rolling out. This is him going to his right. So
Which he could do, I think.
yeah, yeah, man. And this is the absolute dime. This is one of the best plays that I've seen from Mac Jones. On to Mechie.
Right in the breadbasket. You can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, this is just a great throw, and like I said, the intensity.
That's pretty good. And to be fair, like we showed the clip before against A&M where he was rolling left and put together a really clunky play. Great pocket feel there. Knew when to step up. Knew where he had the opening, and how.
Yeah, his pocket presence. His pocket presence is amazing. That's something that he does have in his toolbox. And like I said, it's imperative when you don't have the athleticism that other guys have. So yeah, man, this is a throw from Mac Jones. I don't think he's a bad athlete, even though we can make fun about him being doughy at times. I just don't think he's just not the most graceful athlete that you're gonna see, particularly when we talk about guys like Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson.
Here's the question everyone's asking: is that can you win? Can you build a winning team moving forward with not? I'm not going to call Mac a statue, but Mac is a pure pocket passer at the end of the day. He's not going to create a bunch of plays with his legs like Trevor can, like Zach Wilson can, like Justin Fields, and like Trey Lance can. So the question is, can you build a winner around a quarterback with that style right now, given the direction the league is going in? And before anyone throws out, well, a pocket passer just won the Super Bowl. Let's not compare anyone to Tom Brady. As much as I have my thoughts on Tom Brady, but no, we're not going there. So the question is, when you look at the guys that are winning MVP right now and are playing at the top of the position and are really just dominating that spot. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can move. Patrick Mahomes can move. Josh Allen can move. Who else would we say? Lamar Jackson can move. I know Kyler Murray gets some jokes, but he's an up-and-coming guy. He can move. All other four guys in this draft class that are going to go in the top 10 probably can move. So the question is, can you build a winner around a guy that doesn't move? Because in the last 5 years, guys that are more pocket passers in the Super Bowl, let's say, that come to mind, like Jared Goff kind of got exposed a little bit. I'm not even going to give Matt Ryan that much crap because, obviously, Matt Ryan played 3 really good quarters of football in the Super Bowl a couple years ago in a Kyle Shanahan offense, which we'll get to that in a little bit as well. But it's not ideal, I don't think. I think it can be done, but your margin for error when you're building the scheme and the talent around is just much lower, no?
Yeah, no, that's definitely what I would say because I don't think the pocket passer is going anywhere. It's like to answer that part of your question, no, it's the same reason why as much as I love Lamar and I think the hate he gets, it can get stretched out too far for somebody who's only failed in the playoffs for the most part. Like Lamar gets a lot of crap for that. And even going back to like I said, but the pocket passer isn't going anywhere. You still have to be able to make these reads. You still have to be able to actually to make guys punish and throw into tight windows. But this is my thing about Mac Jones. Like the tight windows, I didn't see it on tape time after time. To where it's just I'm like, all right, this is something that he's gonna be able to do. I'm not saying he's not accurate because the ball placement is something that he did excel at. But when we talk about the same way when you saw Devontae Smith is getting elite separation from cornerbacks, Jalen Waddle is getting elite separation from cornerbacks. And then when we consider that Sark is scheming guys wide open, let's take a look at this play because I do think it actually falls into the same conversation. It's actually so I think that's Mechie right there. Mechie is on a streak right here. He's actually Mechie is the proper read right here. You know what I'm saying? And if we just run back, let's run the whole play right here. It doesn't really. It kind of just looked like this was a predetermined read from Mac. I don't think he didn't he's looking
end zone.
Yeah, this is a walking.
That's a layup. I mean, sure, the play worked, but you missed a touchdown. And like we're not gonna. I mean,
Yeah. So
like quarterbacks miss reads. It's fine. He still made the play, but like that's a layup touchdown.
quarterbacks do this. You don't have to make every read. Yeah, so like staying with the actual importance of the pocket passer, like for me at least, scheme is a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? It can only take you so far. Like you can have an amazing scheme. Kyle Shanahan's scheme is amazing. You know, Andy Reid runs an amazing scheme. You know what I'm saying? But scheme is a means to an end. You know what I'm saying? It can only take you so far. So like, there's gonna be times when Mac Jones is gonna have to make a play. There's gonna be times when he's down 2 touchdowns and he's going to have to like stand tough in the pocket and make throws down the field. We didn't necessarily see that too much from Mac Jones because, like I said, for the most part, he
back off this. Like just kind of think about like the big picture of like the weapons and like the scheme overall, like the surrounding talent. Think back to how highly we all thought of that LSU championship team from 2 seasons ago. A lot of people said maybe the greatest team, maybe the greatest offense in the history of college football. In my opinion, this Bama offense was every bit their equal, minus Joe Burrow was better than Mac Jones. But I mean, what do you think of? I mean, when you think of the skill position guys, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and obviously a couple of those guys have proven it on the next level. Justin Jefferson specifically, obviously, but I mean, Devontae Smith, John Mechie, half a season of Jalen Waddle, and Najee Harris. If that's not equal with it, it's pretty
a great
damn
line.
good.
Yeah. And like I said, man, Matt, like if you just want to compare the numbers, you know, to 1-1, yeah, man, it's an amazing stuff. Like you are right. Like I'm not, if somebody wants to make the argument for LSU, I'm not blaming you at all. It's those are all time offenses in recent college football. And like I said, Joe Burrow is my guy. But just from like if you're just looking at the numbers, I think the degree of difficulty on some of the throws Joe Burrow was making puts him in a different class personally. But yeah, man, like if you're just talking about what they accomplished, he ran the same gauntlet for the most part that Joe Burrow just did. This next play I actually want to look at because this is one of the best throws that I've seen Mac Jones make, and this is the allure. This is what you want to see him make. This is stretching the field down. It's stretching the defense down the field. Just strike pressure dropping down on you in a bucket in between two guys, in between the safety and the cornerback. This is great stuff to Mechie. You know what I'm saying? This is what you want to see from Mac Jones. Mac Jones
is talk about bonus points. Do you know how easy it is to get your receiver killed on that play when the safety is closing in? He did not get John Mechie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a high level NFL throw.
So that's what I'm saying. So like I said, the arguments for Mac Jones, you know, like we've seen and yeah, this is the first like I said, this is the first 4 games between Joe Burrow and Mac Jones. You can see
Burrow's tape. I'm with you. Burrow's tape was significantly more impressive, but yes.
Burrow's a much more graceful athlete. He makes he makes better throws on the run, and he has a stronger arm probably than Mac Jones, or it's similar. Neither of them have plus arms, I would say. But yeah, man, like you said, the difference between the two, you know, Mac Jones just has to prove this. There's a lot he still has to prove. The ecosystem that he's going to be playing in the next level will not be Alabama. So it's another great throw for Mac Jones, I would say. Outside hash, just 40 yards down the field.
Yep.
Devontae Smith.
Wide
open. Know, just
a really easy throw to miss, though. It is a really easy throw to miss.
Easy, yeah. It's a really easy throw to miss if you're not. Like I said, the timing from Mac Jones is why you love to see it. It's why you say if he masters the Shanahan offense, you know, could he give you the Matt Ryan season? You know, well, first of all, Matt Ryan had the gift of playing with, you know, Julio Jones his entire career, and you got guys like that who just they erase mistakes. You know, guys like that don't grow on trees. He was playing with a couple of those guys who just gave you a great, you know, room for error when you're making these throws. But yeah, man, that's such an impressive play. What else we got here? This is more in the end zone. This is a tight throw. You want to see him make this throw? It's a very tight window. I'll run it back one more time.
Also, probably he's probably got Devontae going to the corner on a 7 route wide open.
Was the pressure coming down on him on that play? he felt the pressure, which is why he got it out of there. But yeah, man, Mac Jones, he also like for the most part, like I said about him perfecting the Sarkisian offense. Yeah, man, he hit all of his safety valves on basically whenever it was important. He never was trying to do too much. Which on the next level, sometimes you are forced to do stuff that you wouldn't feel as comfortable for, which is my problem because we've seen more talented quarterbacks, more raw talented quarterbacks than a Mac Jones fail at the next level. When they weren't flanked with elite, elite skill position or elite line around them, or even a great scheme. Somebody like Darnold comes to mind, who like we had this conversation with Darnold and compared to somebody like a Sam Darnold, but I think Sam Darnold is he's more toolsy than a Mac Jones. We could have a whole discussion about Sam Darnold, but like, and I think one of the best points I saw about Mac Jones is if you have the infrastructure of that team, if you have skill position guys, if you have a great defense, you have a great line, you have a great coach, shoot for the fences, man. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of
I think
not to just
that's run this clip as well real quick because this was bad Mac Jones because there's a throw to be made there and he did not make it the right one. It could have been a lot worse. But he's got I'm not it's kind of tough to figure out the exact route on that last play, but I mean like
we need another route for the angle for that. But
Davante has space.
You probably want to see this ball more towards the sideline. That's what I would probably say. But like even looking at this play, this felt telegraphed as well. So like that was my other thing. And
fucking someone's.
I guess since we're already here, I can get into the spiel a little bit because this is just more about we talk about the unfair lens that goes on a black quarterback compared to a Mac Jones. And this is not me killing Mac Jones. I personally. I think I'm a fan of redemption arcs. I always look for a nice, redemption arc regardless of race. So Mac Jones had 2 DUIs. All right, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope, Uber and Lyft are invented for a reason, my brother. You're about to sign a very lucrative, if he goes third, he's signing a very lucrative rookie scale contract in the NFL. He's not going, there's no need for him to be penny pinching on Ubers. You know what I'm saying? Now I think
most awkward slider I've seen in a long time. We'll get a replay.
Yeah, man, he can't slide. He can't slide at all.
He's not the slowest quarterback you'll ever see.
He's just not graceful. He's just not graceful at all.
He is not. He's not a terrible athlete. He's a clunky athlete, but he's not a terrible athlete.
And this is just Devontae Smith breaking somebody off. Like, look at that DB, man. Like he's damn near his ass is almost on the grass. Like if you're looking at that play, like that DB, like
right there,
he was on his heels.
He's being
but going back to the actual Mac Jones said that I said about the redemption arc. I'm not killing Mac Jones for the mistakes he made. It's just more of these actual, like a lot of the takes that I see. Mac Jones gets the benefit of the doubt when a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields might not. So I'm reading a lot of this stuff, and a lot of these plays I'm seeing. Like it's a scheme. So I'm just like Mac Jones, like he is somebody I've seen him go through his reads from time to time. So I'm not going to kill him and say he never goes through his reads. But a lot of these plays,
if we want to illustrate the scheme and the talent, can you please just throw up a couple clips of Devontae Smith in the playoff, please?
Yeah, we gonna get to those. We're gonna get to those.
Okay.
But even more like I'm saying, man, like a lot of it was he was just able. To like he knew where the ball was supposed to go. He knew what he had to look for, and he was getting read. It wasn't too complicated for him. This is a flat-footed throw, inaccurate. You want to see a little better from that. But yeah, man, the idea of like Fields not going through his reads and Mac Jones. When I went and watched the tape, a lot of this stuff was just like it might have been a look off, but it wasn't advanced manipulation. He knew exactly what he had to do, and the ball would be where it needed to be. But this is something he's going to have to improve on at the next level as well. Looking at this play, we can run this playback room, Matt, if you have anything for this one. Yeah, let's take another look at this. This is just a flat-footed throw.
The way he deals with pressure at times, given how little pressure he faced, combined with his athletic ability,
scares me.
A little bit
frightens me. Because look, like if you just look at he felt somebody on his back and he just kind of airmailed the throw, which, you know, it wasn't a lot where he was actually it wasn't a lot of times where he was under duress a lot at Bama. But like you said, man, it's not. This is something that the whatever team he's going for in the next level, you know, teams might just say, all right, man, we're gonna bring pressure on you a lot. We're gonna see how you handle blitz, how you handle, you know, being when you get flushed out of the pocket. A lot of defensive coordinators are gonna
Think about
pressure him like that.
what does Belichick dial up every time he faces a rookie quarterback?
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, like, and all right, so let's go ahead and have a check down. What else do we have on McCorkle? This is another one. This is against the Bama game, man. This is just this is a high school throw.
There's no. Is this Devontae or Mechie?
That's Devontae. That's Devontae. Nobody near him, and
This
we'll
was
run this
another-
back on the next angle.
This was another defensive breakdown right here where the safety jumps for no reason because he's got a guy underneath who can play this route if he runs an inbreaker. And Devontae just says, I'm going to smoke you over the top because you don't know what you're
Two
doing.
guys, yeah, the two safeties are just like
I don't really know
This-
what was the pump. I don't know like why they were biting on the pump. Like
yeah, man. But like that's just like some of the
there.
there's nobody within 15 yards of Devontae Smith, and you know when you're throwing at guys like that,
And he knows that's
like plays like
he knows that's a slam dunk when he lets it out of his hand.
yeah, man, and like if you can't miss on this throw, like this is supposed to be every time. You can't overthrow this guy, and he didn't. So like credit to Mac Jones, but the thing is, like, so like, and I've been thinking about this, and we'll get to his tape at another time. Jamie Newman, somebody like one of my more favorite under the radar QBs in this actual class. But like, all right, let's swap out Mac Jones for a similar quarterback. You know, these are throws that we're expecting all these quarterbacks to make. I'm not taking credit away from Mac Jones for making the throw, but he has to make this throw if you're expecting him to be an NFL player. You know what I'm saying? So this is another one. This is from the SEC championship game against Florida.
Shoot out.
And yeah, like
Dumb throw. I mean, like
this is just telegraph. Like we can read. Let's see what he's looking right here. He's looking right. He's looking to I think that's Devontae on the outside, or that's Mechie's one of the receivers. And then he knows he has his man down the field, and he just says, I'm throwing it.
There's a guy in the middle of the field for a pretty easy 15
Yeah,
yard
run that back.
plus room to run after.
Yeah, there's if you read right here, the middle of the field is open. It's the easier throw actually as well.
He had, Madden 06 or 07 when you got the QB vision and you lock on to one receiver and the entire defense you're going. That's what that was on this play.
Yeah, man. No, for sure. And like I said, it's a telegraph throw. So like things like that you don't want to see. But on the quick passing game, Mac has been pretty accurate. He gets the ball out when it needs to be. He gets the ball into his playmakers. So like if the call is San Francisco at 3, you know, this short passing game between guys like Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are two of the best like yak guys in the league. And this is before I even mentioned their true wide receiver one, who's George Kittle. You know what I'm saying? So like these are going to be simple reads for like if I'm trying to hypothetically figure out why they would take a third, it's all of these reasons necessarily. For me, would I do that? No.
No, I'm but like let's get into that a little bit. In like when you think about some of the quarterbacks that Kyle Shanahan has had success with, and a lot of them, like just comparing them to Mac Jones would be lazy, but in a way they are all pure pocket guys when you're talking about Kirk Cousins, when you're talking about Matt Ryan and his MVP season. And I mean, for all the crap that Jimmy Garoppolo may get, some of it deserved. He did take that team to the Super Bowl. I mean, he threw 8 times in the NFC Championship game, and he could probably thank Raheem Mostert for running all over the Packers in that 2019 NFC title game. But he still ran an offense that went to the Super Bowl. So when you think about Mac Jones, can he fill that role? I think the answer is pretty clearly yes. What I'm wondering, and I think what you're wondering, and a lot of people are wondering, is a Shanahan offense where you have a mobile quarterback that can make all these reads, can operate the short passing game, the RPO stuff or whatever, but can also really, really threaten you down the field and with your legs. What does that open up? And I guess the question is, like, why would you take, if you're the 49ers and you have this uber talented roster by and large outside the quarterback position, why would you not go for the potential home run pick in Justin Fields or Trey Lance, who, like we said, Garoppolo can be that bridge to a fully developed Trey Lance? And like, it feels like Mac Jones is how would you put it, the underwhelming pick. I mean, maybe I don't doubt that he could run that offense. I just don't think that he is the peak performer in that offense compared to Justin Fields or Trey Lance. No.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's the question that remains to be answered, because Mac seems more of like the product of this Alabama environment. I'm not saying like after a year like that, yeah, man, this is the high. This might be the highest his stock may ever
To be
be.
clear, neither one think he's a bad prospect. I just don't think.
No, we're not. I think that's the funny thing, because I think
he's a prospect.
I wanted to make, this is not like I didn't want to do the whole LOL Mac Jones thing, which is why like we're gonna respect what he did on film and run through it, which is why, and like you said, he made a lot of great throws, and even somebody who you can see him compared to in like maybe a best case scenario, somebody who I have a lot of love for, and somebody like Eli Manning. I see some of the mechanics and some of the throws he makes from Eli, but even Eli, like Eli's college tape, Eli was running for his life. I even think Eli was probably a better athlete, and Eli
Jones and Eli Manning slide against one another.
I would, and maybe it's just the shoulder pads and the baggy shoulder pads. Why he look, yeah, like maybe it's that, but like, yeah, man, like even so, like I wanted to, we this is the college, this is the championship or the semifinal game against Notre Dame.
The show.
Yeah, and like even like Mac Jones, he went 61 for 75 against Notre Dame and OSU, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, like no fumbles either. Like he couldn't have played much better. So I wanted to pull up, because I have most of his touchdowns in these games queued up. So let's take a look, and we're gonna see, is this scheme, does Mac Jones deserve the credit, or is this Devontae Smith is just a fucking animal, and this is the reason why he won Heisman. So let's run the tape. What do we have here, Matt?
That scheme. I mean, it's a bubble screen. Nice block there by man. A great block by Mechie as well. I mean, he'd fit in San Francisco with that block. But yeah, I mean, that is a well schemed up play. You've got 2 one-on-one matchups on the outside. Devontae does his man. Mechie's leading the way down.
26. You got to make that tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's Mechie winning his block and Devontae winning his one-on-one matchup.
It's a great block by Mechie. And yeah, man. So like I said, this I think it was the first touchdown of that game. Let's see what else we have here for Mac Jones.
So to answer the question, sure, Mac gets the touchdown pass. He didn't do anything spectacular in that play, obviously.
All right, so this is another one. This is the second touchdown in this Notre Dame game. The ball is where it needs to be. I'm not really hating on Mac, but just from my eyes,
there ain't no one there. That man had New York.
This is a defensive miscommunication on this play. I've noticed that as well, because if you watch a lot of the early Bama stuff this year, it was a lot of like shallow crossing routes and mesh concepts to where the defense, there's 2 breaking points, and one of them might streak wide open. So if you look at this play, like, what's it called? Nobody's paying attention to the streaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, he makes a throw, he gets credit for it. But, that's not an NFL throw to me, because I don't expect the window to be that wide open every single time. There's going to be times sometimes. But yeah, man, like, good read.
This is a championship game too, or this is a semifinal game. This is not Bama against some slapdick non-conference team.
I mean, Notre Dame is a slapdick conference team, for being realistic. I mean, no, all credit to Notre Dame, but this is why they're not. This is why they're an unserious program, and why they never stand up to the actual like elite programs in college football, because you can just see it. And on plays like this, you just see where they're running away from. This is another play in that actual Bama game. This is from the 3rd quarter, I believe. But this is Mechie, so it's like RPO.
Plant.
Mechie's just running free on this play.
Is that Devontae,
you know what I'm saying?
Favor on that?
No,
block?
This is Mechie. On the block, yeah, that's
Devontae lead the way on that block.
Yeah, on the block, yeah. So like,
RPO,
this is another one, man. Like
RPO and the motion man out of the backfield took that defender that traveled with him out of the play. Mechie had the entire middle of the field to work with. He's fast as hell. and it's an easy pitch and catch, and you let we kind of like we talked about, like if you imagine him in a 49ers offense with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, get them the ball in space.
All right, Matt. So let's see what this is another this is Devontae Smith doing Devontae Smith things. Which we project him to do at the next level, because that
he was that entire season, obviously winning the Heisman. He was somehow even better in the playoff, which is just absurd. Shades of Odell Beckham, early days with the Giants, just dusting dudes on a slant.
Yeah, and just insane. And like you said about what Devontae Smith did in the playoffs, his last 3 games. So this is SEC championship game against Florida, the first semifinal against Notre Dame, and the championship game against Ohio State. He put up 34 receptions for 519 yards and 8 touchdowns in 3 games. You know what I'm saying? The kid is and a lot of this is all Devontae too. So it's just like I it's hard for me to give credit for Mac Jones for doing things that, I would expect my JV quarterback to make.
Correct.
But so I'm just not giving him, if we're talking about franchise quarterback, franchise quarterbacks are guys that I would expect to have, success in
guys that make
various
plays outside of structure, guys that make plays when things break down, guys that
like you said, various schemes and various functions for teams. You know what I'm saying? The best of circumstances and the worst of circumstances. The best quarterbacks can win in both. And the true elite and the true franchise quarterbacks can win in different circumstances. So this is another one, nitpicky, I suppose, but for some, on a throw like this, you want to see this throw more towards the back pylon.
Where you got
this is more towards the
face.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna run this back one more time. This is one of the. It's hard to find incompletions in this game. Oh, my bad. It's hard to find incompletions in this game, but this is one of them. And it should be another touchdown, which is crazy considering what Devontae did in this game. But yeah, man, you want to see this ball towards the outside half, and yeah, man, this is a lot of stuff. I think another Mac Jones thing I would say about why I would be skeptical about what he's going to do at the next level is the short passing game is something that I think, and he excels at the short passing game. This is one of his fortes, and for somebody like him, it's a requirement for that type of player. Mac Jones ran a lot more RPO than Justin Fields, and if you're comparing like RPOs, it's not always read option. You know what I'm saying? So RPOs are called to, a lot of the times it's misdirection to get the defense worrying about eight different things at once. And when I watch teams try to defend Bama, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing there's so many weapons on the field, and there's always somebody wide open. This is another one. This is another Devontae Smith touchdown. This is a scheme touchdown.
Like a staple of a Shanahan offense. All the eye dressing.
This is Shanahan. Yeah, This is Shanahan all day. And Sarkisian definitely, like I said, the drunk offensive coordinator for Bama, like he did a lot of great things for Mac Jones. And Mac Jones was pretty comfortable. And you can see Kyle Shanahan doing things like this. But I just don't know how far that takes you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we think San Francisco made they made the Super Bowl last season? What is their true window? Windows in the NFL are small. Like we do this thing where we expect teams to have like 8 to 10-year windows. That's not a thing. That's not really how NFL teams work. Windows are small. A couple injuries here, a couple injuries there. Next, the window is closed. If they think that the window is, did we look at this play, man? I'm not sure off the top of my head.
No, we did not.
No, we did not. This is more awkward. This is another awkward slide, and then he hits and a check down to Najee. But yeah, man, I like if Shanahan thinks his team can win a Super Bowl in the next couple of years. My thing is with this whole the function about what I'm reading from this team is like, Tom Brady was a free agent last year. Like, if you wanted to do the whole thing where you think, all right, we're just missing somebody who can make all the simple throws for us, that was Tom Brady, bro. Like, you could have like. I'm saying to myself, it's like, hey man, like I guess, but like let's say the talent on the 49ers drop. Mac Jones isn't the type of quarterback who I would expect to lead, like less or less than supporting cast. So that's kind of my thing on a play like or for
I guess
for like if you expect him to be a top 3 pick.
Here's where like kind of like my thought process on the whole thing. If you're Kyle Shanahan, and part of the reason that you are considering drafting a quarterback at number 3, or no, excuse me, they're not considering it. They traded Ed Hall because they're drafting a quarterback at number 3. Right now, it looks like Mac Jones. But a big reason for that decision was because Jimmy Garoppolo's flaws were exposed, especially in the fourth quarter of that Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. So my thing is this: if you want to upgrade from that, is Mac Jones that much better than Jimmy Garoppolo? Because the style of plays, while Mac Jones, I think, can do a lot of things better than Jimmy G, but the style of plays are pretty similar. So do you think that Mac Jones, like you said, this window is short? Super Bowl windows are short. So do you think that Mac Jones, do you think Mac Jones is walking in there year one, his rookie, or day one, his rookie year, and is going to take this team to another level than Jimmy G? And if the answer is no to that, do you think that Mac Jones is taking this offense to a higher ceiling than Justin Fields or Trey Lance? And to me, the answer is pretty clearly no. So why are you taking maybe a better version of the guy that you have right now, who is limited and whose limitations, along with, Kyle Shanahan deserves some flack for his play calling the Super Bowls. We've been over this, but he's pretty clearly a top 2 or 3 offensive mind in the league. He just has his flaws. But why would you not, when you're thinking about a Shanahan offense, like I told you before off camera, the number one guy that comes to mind about what happens when you put an elite quarterback in a Shanahan offense is Aaron Rodgers, who just won his 3rd MVP at 37 years old with one true superstar receiver in Devontae Adams, and then Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Robert Tonyan, who, those guys are good, and those guys all fill their roles. But no one outside of true Packers fans had ever heard of those guys before this year. So if you want to know what Shanahan offense could do with a quarterback that is exceptional, that can make plays outside of structure, that can fit into any scheme, and can make plays and win no matter the weapons around, then Aaron Rodgers is your guy. And I'm not saying that Justin Fields or Trey Lance or anyone in this draft should be put in that class, but I think that the ceiling on them is much higher. I will say this. I think that Mac Jones going to San Francisco is probably the best place for him because of all the stuff that we just talked about with the scheme and how he can kind of operate that short passing game and get yak monsters like Ayuk and Debo into space and allow them to make plays. But Justin Fields and Trey Lance can probably do the exact same thing. Is my it almost feels like a conservative drafting scared move, and that's not how you win Super Bowls.
Yeah, man, and I don't want to make this claim against Kyle Shanahan, but the NFL does draft scared. It's at large. I would say the NFL as teams, and hey, man, these are rich billionaires that run organizations, and even not to make this shot at Kyle Shanahan, because I'll respect what he does and say that this is something that he sees on tape, I guess, but it is unimaginative to me, and to trade up all those picks. That's why if we put in the pick under scrutiny, that's when it becomes much more of if they think Mac Jones is the final piece, then I would say, all right, let's go. But that's tough for me.
So here's a question I'll pose. Do you think he's scared of developing Justin Fields or Trey Lance, or do you think he's scared of running with a quarterback that's outside of his traditional mold?
Maybe I don't know what's the case with Kyle Shanahan, and I'll refrain from making reckless speculation against him specifically. But I think the point is valid at large against the NFL. But I don't know. Maybe he has a type. Maybe he's the Kirk Cousins, the Matt Ryans, the Jimmy G's. He does have a track record at this point, which is why and at this point with the NFL, I've stopped just taking these things. Don't get leaked by accident. Things don't. With the NFL specifically, a lot of times when there's smoke, there's fire, and a lot of times these guys do when it and even I got something for you, Dan Orlovsky. You fucking scrub, yo. If we get into the Dan Orlovsky thing, which is why it was just so trash to me to make when we talk about these unnamed sources, and unnamed sources is my problem. Like nobody's saying Justin Fields is a perfect prospect. Nobody has said that. We know Justin Fields is not perfect. None of these quarterback prospects are perfect. If you sit down and watch the tape, it becomes obvious. But it becomes a thing when you talk about, oh, this is what I've heard from guys. So wait, let's walk that back for a moment. This is what he's heard talking to guys inside the NFL. Okay, starting to make sense to me now. That means there are that's the main tell, and it's clear that NFL decision makers and NFL scouts and GMs, these guys do have inherent biases that we're talking about breakdown the tape. It doesn't seem like tape is the only thing. So that's just something to watch. I don't think we can final takes for this Mac Jones episode. We can get you out of here in a sec, Matt. But yeah, man, fine. These guys do have inherent biases that I could tell. But I do think Mac Jones, I would probably grade him closer to a back end of a first round pick rather than the number 3 pick. If you think Mac Jones is the one and you think he's gonna go in the top 10, all right, I understand. Go get your guy. I'll never be mad if maybe Kyle Shanahan's right. Maybe we're wrong. It's a possibility. It could go either way. But I guess final Mac Jones takes, and if you had to choose a range, final take, I guess, a range to where when it's all settled done and his career is finished and he finds his footing in the league, what tier of quarterback inside the league do you think he settles into when he's done?
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. Do you think that Mac Jones at any point in his career becomes MVP Matt Ryan? I don't think so. Listen, a lot of scheme, Hall of Fame receiver Julio Jones. Yes, Matt Ryan played at a super high level in that year that they went to the Super Bowl. And like I said, I'm not even going to trash him for losing that Super Bowl because just a lot of really fluky things went the Patriots' way in that fourth quarter. Clearly, that caliber of quarterback is good enough to win the Super Bowl. But I would be surprised if Mac Jones ever has a season or ever becomes that caliber of quarterback. What about you?
Yeah, same. I think he looks around like a league average quarterback to me, which and I think I said this on the previous episode that I think system quarterbacks get a bad rep. Because for the most part, NFL teams are two-sided monster and two-sided engines that need to be running, smoothly. So can he run the offense that you need him to run? Sure, but when things break down, when a play breaks down, when think about the importance of getting quarterbacks on a rookie scale contract is that it allows you to have the rest of your roster completed and built. It's the same thing to why the Seattle hasn't had the same level of success after Russell Wilson has been on his max contract because the talent around him is lesser. And this is Russell Wilson we're talking about. This is Russell Wilson. I don't think Mac Jones will ever get to a level like that. But yeah, man. Shout out to Mac Jones. If you checked out this episode, we appreciate you for checking out. Make sure you subscribe to the Draft Season podcast and the Draft Season YouTube page. More NFL draft content coming for you guys soon. You can follow my co-host for this episode, Matt. Matt, tell the people where they can find you at.
Twitter at Matt_infield. Instagram, I may not accept it, but if you want to give it a shot, if you want to shoot your shot, at Matt_infield there as well.
Matt Infield. Draft Season podcast at DRAFTSEN podcast at Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at I Love Sean 5000. Be on the lookout for more NFL draft content coming soon. Make sure you give us a subscription. We out of here.